In John chapter 16, verse 20, Jesus says, "Truly, truly, I say to you, you will weep and lament, but the world will rejoice. You will be sorrowful, but your sorrow will turn into joy. When a woman is giving birth, she has sorrow because her hour has come. But when she has delivered a baby, she no longer remembers the anguish for joy that a human being has been born into the world. So also, you have sorrow now, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice, and no one will take your joy from you." I think these statements can be understood as with regards to the followers of Christ then and the followers of Christ in the period when he comes back, or in the time, even in present days, or in the present age. Because he says that when Jesus got resurrected, people were weeping and lamenting, but the world was rejoicing. And it's the same today. Yes, back in the day, when Jesus got resurrected, the disciples were weeping and lamenting. But those who wanted him dead, they were the ones who had the spirit of the age, if you will. And they were the ones who were rejoicing when Christ died. The people were sorrowful, but when they saw Jesus again, it turned into joy. And it's the same with us, because we live in a world where we know it could be better. We know that a better world is waiting for us. So we are, in a sense, weeping and lamenting, but the world is rejoicing. And why are they rejoicing? Because they still have time to do evil things. They still have time to sin. And although it might be a subconscious thing, but I think deep inside, those who reject Christ and they don't want to have anything to do with me, somehow deep inside, not even if not everybody, but I've done enough reading about it that I know that many of them enjoy that freedom they have, that they could do whatever they want, or they think they can do whatever they want. That's why they are rejoicing. And it's the same for us, because yes, like I said, we have a lot of problem in our lives. We have sorrow, we have suffering in our lives. But when we see him again, it will turn into joy. And again, when in verse 21, he's talking about the woman giving birth and suffering, I think it could be understood from Jesus' perspective, where he was suffering on the cross, and the fruit of his work was that we have been delivered from the bondage of sin. And then we are, in his eyes, sinless creatures, sinless humans, and he feels the joy. But at the same time, we are struggling as well. We are struggling in this life, and we are going through with birth pains, if you will, because you have to shed your own self. You have to shed your sinful nature, so you can be a new human being. And also, we had to give up our old self so we could be a new creation. So in a sense, I think this could be a reference to us as well. And Jesus talks about saying that, okay, you have sorrow now, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice, and no one will take the joy from you. So again, in the time of Jesus, those following him, because the word Christian didn't exist yet, so they weren't called Christians, they were called followers of Christ, as we are followers of Christ. And yes, they were suffering because they knew not when Christ comes back. They didn't know anything about the salvation plan. But when they saw him again, obviously it was a big surprise, because even the disciples didn't want to believe it. And everything they rejoiced. And from now on, Christianity exploded, and people were willing to die, the death of a martyr. And that's what Jesus is talking about. When people saw him again, they were rejoicing, they were happy. But it's more like joy, because, as I mentioned many times before, joy is not dependent on your circumstances. It's internal. So you can have joy in any kind of situation. But it's the same for us, that although we might be suffering, we might go through hard times, difficulties, when we will see Christ again, whatever sorrow we feel now, it will turn into joy. Amen.